What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Tatiana Noel, and we are back with another video. As you see by the title, we are going to be talking about that crazy relationship that is titled The Crazy Girl and Boy. You guys know who I'm talking about. That toxic relationship that you just can't get enough of, but you like, shit, I gotta get out of this, but it just keeps drawing you back, and you're like, why am I so drawn to this person? And then somewhere along the line, it just hits a complete halt, and then you come out of it, and you're like, what the hell was I thinking? You know that relationship? How do you fall for that? How do you be so naive to fall for the bull? And it's crazy because you come out of that relationship and you're just like, oh my God, did I really just go through all of that? And it's the craziest thing that usually cuts the relationship off. You kind of come out of that relationship like accidentally, and then when you come out, you like, how long was I there? What day is it? Like you come out of that thing like, oh Lord. But then you go back in another one with just a different face, right? And in today's video, we're just basically going to talk about that relationship. We're going to talk about some key points as to like how to look at it in a different way, so that you get what you need from it and you move on from the lesson faster. Because let's face it, right? We go through these relationships and then we get out of it, and then we end up with the same type of person, just with a different face, right? So it's kind of like we're repeating the cycle. And the next thing you know, in my case, I'm like 24, 25, and I'm starting to realize like this shit is draining me. Some people are older than that. Some people, they never get out of these relationships. So we're just going to talk about it today to kind of understand the relationship from a different perspective, see how it can feed you and how you can take what you need from it and you can level up. So, so if this sounds like something that you're interested in, a video that you just like relate to and you want to watch the rest of it, stay tuned because we're going to get right on into it. So before we even start talking about this, I'm going to give you guys my resume of fuckboyism. Just to give you guys a little bit of history of my crazy toxic relationships. You know, I'm just gonna throw it out there. Like, I've literally put my hands on guys. I've like stalked them. I've like destroyed their property. Like, I mean, you name it, like whatever. But I've also been like cheated on during prom. Somebody's had a baby on me. Somebody's hit like their 5-year relationship. Like, it was just one of those relationships where it's everything is telling you to go, but I don't know, you're just so attached to a person. You're just so like used to a person, I guess. And there's a lack of love for yourself. There's a lack of respect for the other person. There's so many things that are commingled into that relationship, but it's just disguised as like, I don't know, you kind of idolize the like rebel nature of the relationship. Like, I don't know, you just kind of fantasize about it, like one day working and then just all this crazy stuff, you know, y'all know. But yeah, so I've had my share of those relationships, and you know, I've grown and I've matured and I've learned to love myself for the beautiful young woman that I am. And I've taken the time to analyze myself, those relationships, and like their role in not only my life, but the role it plays in like each person's life. So first things first, I freaks all the honey. I think everybody can agree that there's a lesson to be learned in like everything you face in life, especially if it's repeated. And just as we discussed, these toxic relationships are often repeated with just a different, like a guy with a different face or a girl with a different face, right? So there's something to be learned there. So that's like kind of point number one that I feel like we can all agree on, you know? No? Tell me in the comments, do you agree or not? I'm going to say that's point number A, or whatever we're doing. Something A, number one, star, triangle, I don't know. But yeah, there's something to learn from these relationships. That's why you repeat them. And that's why you are noticing and or like so conscientious of it's happening in your life, or you wouldn't be watching this video. The necessity of this relationship stems from something or a lack of something that you received or didn't receive growing up, or that you were conditioned around. For example, like if you're somebody who is clingy in a relationship, you probably maybe were like lonely a lot and you just fear, you have like abandonment issues, maybe that's a little too deep. If you're somebody who just has a smart mouth in a relationship, or is just like a leader in a relationship, maybe you were like the older sibling, or maybe you were like the only child or something like that. Like if you want to stay surface level with it, if you will. So repeating these relationships, there's obviously something that you have to learn from it. There's obviously something that about this person that you may really love, but you're just not willing to compromise on, and that you have to change within yourself. Or maybe it's something that you're attracted to that just isn't right for you, and you're forcing it so hard that, you know, you're kind of going against God's will, or you're going against your purpose in life, and you're going to keep facing it until you get it, until you understand, like, this is not what I have for you. I have something else. Because, like, maybe it's, for instance, you're idolizing an image, or or like, you know, a lustful perspective versus like actually getting into the core and connecting with that person. So you're going through these relationships, and it's because of something within you that is like connected to this. And if it's a toxic relationship, then that's something that was put in you that doesn't, number one, doesn't need to be in you, and it doesn't agree with who you are at the core. So you know, you're gonna go through these relationships regardless, because you're not gonna automatically attract somebody who's right for you if you don't understand why you're attracting somebody that's wrong for you, right? So you're gonna go through these relationships regardless. So just with the mindset of going through this relationship, understanding that there's something I need to learn here, there's something that's not right about this union that keeps occurring, that I need to make peace with, or that I need to part with, or that I need to just like forgive and grow up from, mature from, because like that's not good for me. It's not serving me anymore. Like people who are, you know, sexually driven but don't have any real like connection, that's not like serving you for your greater good. If you're feeling like the relationships that you're facing are draining you and are toxic and are just like making you like walk on eggshells and contain who you really are, like if those things are happening, then you're like engaging in something that obviously just isn't good for you, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. Your body, your spirit, your whole energy, your whole vibe tells you when you engage with that person. So if you look at those relationships like school, if you will, like a lesson, if you will, if you take the time, and it's not easy to train your mind to be analytical, but it is easy to train your mind to learn patterns, or to just see synchronicities that keep occurring and just knock them out your life. You know, if you got to be that cut and dry with it, just say like, this pattern keeps happening and I don't like it, so I have to have the discipline to kick it out of my life and do something, or live above, or go the opposite way. You have to learn from this type of relationship. There's ultimately something that you have to grasp onto, or change about yourself, you know, and until you do that, you're going to continue to attract like the same caliber of person that ultimately is toxic for you. If you like being in, if you continuously find yourself in toxic relationships, it's safe to say you're somebody who prefers to be in a relationship than out of one. Even if you're a cheater, that doesn't mean you value relationships, otherwise you wouldn't hold them so close to you. You just don't know how to respect one. You've never seen one respected, or you just don't care to respect one, whichever your choice is. Okay, to each their own. But there's not like a respect on the relationship, so you cheat, but you idolize relationships in such a way. So if you find yourself in a lot of toxic relationships, it's safe to say that you want a relationship, you want a solid relationship. So not at the expense of another person, but people have the right to leave when they want to leave. So if they're staying with you and you're exhibiting toxic traits, you know, and I say this with all due respect, by all means, figure yourself out in that relationship, because it's going to happen anyway, right? So figure yourself out in that relationship, build yourself up to be better, so that you can ultimately, if they forgive you and you guys make it through, love that person the right way, or, you know, love your future spouse, learn from your mistakes in your past relationships so you can honor and respect your future spouse. Toxic relationships are inevitable, okay? You know, especially if you're damaged or have trauma from your past, you're going to experience some sort of toxic relationship. The problem where most people fail is that they don't ever try to dig into the problem. Honestly, this is the problem with a lot of trauma victims. They don't look into the problem, so they cope in different ways. And that's why you'll see people stay in toxic relationships. That's why you'll see people stay with people that cheat on them, people that hit them, people that just downright don't respect them, because they never want to look at their pain. They just want to see this idolized image of a person that they lust for, and they want to hold on to that person because they don't love and respect themselves enough to think or even know that there's like 7 billion people in this world. I don't know, way more. But you know, there's just a lack of love and a lack of respect and a lack of a lot of things in that relationship that just as individuals you need for yourself, but definitely in a partnership you need to have those amongst each other. If you're a trauma victim like myself, you're gonna go through them. The key is to learn from them. The key is to analyze what you go through. You shouldn't go through life kind of clueless and just like let life happen to you. The goal and the hope is that you take life by the bullstraps. I don't know. You know, you grab it by the horns and you kind of control the outcome and the fate of your life. You know, faith without works is dead. You got to put in the work, and that means on yourself first and foremost. Not to rain on any sort of way of life, but a lot of people kind of go for the more material type of work and the more superficial type of work versus the inner work that'll ultimately, in my honest opinion and in my findings through life and my walk through life, I believe it to be that, you know, when you do the inner work, you lead a more peaceful life, which ultimately makes the outer work way easier. You know, you just kind of draw it to you. It's an attraction, if you will, manifestation. Toxic relationships are pretty necessary, but they're not to be drawn out, and they're not to be drug out, and you're not to like waste your time. At a certain point, you have to apply what you've learned, and you have to discipline yourself to do the steps necessary to overcome that level of the toxic relationship you know better than. It's not just going to automatically happen. You're not just going to know better and then you're going to do better. There's discipline that's required of you. So discipline is a major factor to have in life in general, but definitely in relationships that are draining you. You have to have discipline, and you have to have boundaries. But boundaries come in place once you've had discipline to learn to love yourself enough. You won't even understand what boundaries are, how to set them, or how to respect them if there's not discipline within yourself, okay? Because boundaries are enforced discipline on a repetitive basis, okay? It's just putting your foot down where you draw the line with how you feel you deserve to be treated. So it's very necessary to discipline yourself. It's very necessary to have these boundaries so that you can have a healthy relationship, so that you can ultimately show your partner how to love you, because you're new to them. You know, they didn't spend their whole life with you unless you're like high school sweethearts or something. They didn't spend your whole life with you, so you're a person coming into their life, coming into 24, 25, 26, 27, 30 plus years of existence and needing to be loved your own unique way. So having discipline and having boundaries will help you ease the process of coming together with somebody who's not yourself. I see a lot of people look at toxicity as like pure evil, but there's the yin and the yang. For every good, in every good there's bad, and every bad there's good. So you have to give some, I think I talked about this in the depression video, and I'm gonna say it here too. You have to give some respect to your toxicity. You have to allow it to like make its claim and let you know like why it's here, and then you have to beat that bitch up. No, I'm kidding. You have to make a claim. You have to let it make a claim, let it know why it's here, and then you have to defeat it. You know, you got to be that Goliath. Now, who beat Goliath? Y'all know who I'm talking about. I can't think of his name right now. David beat Goliath. Was it David? I think it was David. I think so. Yeah, you gotta slay that mountain. You gotta slay a mountain. You gotta slay that beast. You gotta climb that mountain, you know? You gotta like do the work. And oftentimes the work is just your bigger, badder self. And she's, in my case, she's always going to exist inside of you. There's times when you need to consult with her because you're too sensitive. Because you're too sensitive on the other end. There's times you need to consult with her and allow her to use her, if you will, in the most efficient and effective way. But if you don't understand the negative for what it is, you can't use it properly. So get to know your toxicity, get to know why it exists, get to know how it feeds you, so you can give it what it needs to be at bay, and you can shine your absolute best. Put your best to the front, you know, put your best foot forward, go out in this world, snag you that mate that you belong with, that is your soulmate, and that loves you wholeheartedly, unconditionally, and just have a healthy relationship, you know? If you guys have anything to say, if you disagree with anything that I said, please drop it in the comments below. Talk to me. Tell me if you think I'm crazy. Tell me if I'm just making all this stuff up, or if you agree, if you understand where I'm coming from, if you feel like more boundaries and discipline and self-love need to be applied in your relationships to have healthy relationships, then give me a like, share this video, you know, comment, drop me some hearts down below, and just tell me, like, I support you, I definitely agree with what you're saying, something to just, you know, keep me feeling positively affirmed, like, you know. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I have a family reunion, uncle's birthday, Haitian style party coming next. Maybe next. It's gonna take some time to edit, but I got some more bangers coming for you guys. So thank you so much for watching my channel. Thank you for staying tuned with me. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to my channel and bring your friends along, because I got a lot to say. All right, peace.